Good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel, which I've not used for a long time, so I thought it was time to start doing some bits with it. Now I have a slightly better video camera available to me, albeit on an iPhone. Today we're going to look at SBS's Caudron 600-610 series. I've got a couple of these to build. This is the one I'm not going to build, but I thought I'd show you this because this will give you an indication as to what the kit looks like out of the box. So this is the latest Caudron 610. The one we're going to build is a 600, but they're more or less the same. Nicely packaged, solid boxes. Bit of bubble wrap. There's always bubble wrap. It's great fun. The parts are beautifully presented across a series of smaller resin blocks. All the parts are numbered. We'll try and illustrate that to you in a moment. Let's have a little look. So this is the ventral fuel tank, rear bulkhead, front bulkhead, tail section and headrest. They're numbered across the bottom. They're beautifully presented. They literally will, with a little bit of effort, flick off the base, but just scoring along the edges with a sharp knife, something like a number 10A, just to make sure you get a clean break. Not a bad idea. The majority of it is presented like this, and is easy enough to get off the block. The only part which might be tricky to your average person is the cockpit floor, which is for the two-seater aircraft. Now these were two-seaters. This was a two-seater converted to a single-seater. The 600 kit provides decals for two 600s and a modified single-seater, which actually is the one I'm going to build. I found it very easy to just slide my JLC saw under that lip and saw it through, turn it and do the other side, use the coarser side of the blade. 5 minutes work, very little effort, and then flat sanding it gave me a thing. The only problem I did find is that these rudder pedals are very flexible and also very fragile. When you sand it flat, these small square panels here and on either side of the control column mounts should be sanded through. That gives you the right depth, because those are actually open on the real aircraft anyway. The seat mounts are fantastic. When I'll show you in a minute, when I was cleaning up the 600, I did manage to break both the seats because they are a right angle, an L shape, and they're quite fragile at this point. They flexed and I broke them both because I'm numbnuts, apparently. That's the most tricky part in the entire kit to clean up. The fuselage halves and wings are just beautiful. This is a limited edition version, produces Elizabeth Lyon's aircraft from 1939, I think. Let me just confirm that. 1938, the Paris-Tunis-Paris race. This is where you get to see the beauty of this kit. There is zero cleanup really required here to make this fit together. A little bit of flashing in there to clean out. That just takes a light sanding and it's done. The parts will just clip together. There are locating pins, unlike a lot of injection molded kits. Cost a lot more than this, and it will just a little bit of cleaning up, but there you go. Nothing I've done to that. I've done nothing to that. That's straight out of the bag. Superb piece of kit. The wing fit, once you've separated them, if you notice that whilst there are molding blocks, there are also locating pins, so it's a case of half sawing that down, breaking it away, cleaning up the edges, and then, as I'll show you with the 600 in a minute, the fit of that is just stunning. Get these all back in the bag, because of course you can never get them back in the bag in a hurry when you want to. So a little photo etch and a film and a masking set for the canopy. The canopy is moulded in clear resin and is absolutely exquisite, as all the SBS canopies tend to be. I have a few of these kits, it won't surprise you. There's is a photocopied instruction sheet. To be honest, that's all you need. It doesn't need to be flash, but it's nicely laid out. It's a proper parts diagram with all the numbered parts located on it. Simple enough construction sequences. Delightful. That's it. Then you get a colour painting instruction. There's only one aircraft option in this, FANSK. It's a converted 600 single-seater called a C610, hence the enclosed cockpit. All the red areas are on the deco sheet. What is interesting is, and it's one of those things where the manufacturers hedged their bets a little, that's always the way, you get the red stripes and the leading edge stripes on the decal sheet, along with the tricolor stripes from the fuselage for the wingtips. Just there, look. And the red stripes for the fuselage, complete with the cutout where it goes across the canopy. But you also get the codes in white, red and black. Not sure about white. I'm not entirely sure they're supposed to not go underneath something to give better depth of colour, but I can't see that that would be the case. But there is some debate about whether the codes on this were red or black. I'll explain my reasoning behind why I'm going with red on the 600 that I'm building in a moment, and I'll let you make your own mind up. Now, lovely, as I say, beautiful little thing. So we're going to build the 600 kit, and I'm going to cover that in a second. Let me just put this one back away. I don't want to muddle the parts up. Always put the bubble wrap back. Now, this is the 600. This is the civilian issue. There is a militarized issue, which contains markings for a Hungarian aircraft, a Spanish Civil War aircraft, and an impressed French aircraft, which is actually one of the decal options in this kit, and actually the aircraft I'm going to build. FANSN, which was flown in a particular air race. The Maurice Finon aircraft on the front, air race aircraft. You also get a Swedish civilian registered one and the French endurance racing aircraft that I'm going to build. Again, parts is very much the same. A variation on that instruction sheet. It is based on the same set of drawings, but it again includes a little bit more detail because this one's available as a single. You can build as a single or a two-seater. There are photo etched throttle quadrants and all that kind of stuff in this. Now, I build my aircraft flying, so they usually are occupied by a pilot. So we shall see how much of that you can see and whether actually the pilot figure fits with it all in place as I go along. Now, I set about this thing quite late last night. Didn't actually intend to. Was doing something else. This pulled off the shelf because I fancied a new build, and I had it cleaned off the sprue off the resin parts in under an hour, which was as much of a surprise to me as it was for the kit. These are the windscreens. This aircraft, as I say, is available as a two-seater or a single-seater buildable, so you come with these lovely little resin windscreens, and there are indents on the fuselage that take this lip part so they fit perfectly. The one thing you don't get is a set of masks for this one, which is a slight disadvantage. So decals are provided for the Maurice Finon aircraft, flown by Georges Reynard and Mrs. Finon. One presumes that Mr. Finon was indisposed and wasn't able to fly. Flew on the Paris-Ovato Madagascar race in 1936. It is a C600. All the decals are provided. Codes, serials, tricolor stripe on the fuselage, all in there. The other option is a Swedish registered civilian aircraft. Not much variation to that over this aircraft. All the red striping is in the kit, including the leading edge parts as well, which are similar to the ones on the 610 that we've just looked at. The aircraft I'm going to build is this one, which is actually intended to be the subject of the kit, I believe. This is the single-seater variation with an enclosed front cockpit. It looks like a metal plate. I actually have a photograph of this aircraft taxiing in at Paris-Orly, and you can see a lip around that part. The kit part is a little bit more pronounced, but to be honest, within scale, it's fine. The red cowling flash and the globe are on the decal sheet. What they do give you is a choice of red or black for these parts. Now, I'm looking at the photograph of the real aircraft, and I'll put that on my Facebook feed. Or try and put it into the video when I do a bit of editing in a bit. I think there's no colour tone difference between the code and the nose, so I've gone with the red, or will be going with the red codes on mine. Apart from anything, it looks nicer. Okay, so I cleaned all the parts up, took all the moulding box off, sanded all the parts down. I was talking about part joint, part fit. This is roughly cleaned up. I've not done much with it. And yet the fit is perfect, absolutely perfect. Takes a little bit of lining up, obviously it's a resin kit, but that is beautiful. In fact, on this one, the hardest joint to deal with was the one on the lower half of the fuselage, but again, it's on the bottom of the aircraft, so it's not that big an issue. The locating pins allow everything to click up, so yeah, I'm going to need a little bit of super glue to join that, get rid of that joint. But on this top joint, the visible one, there's nothing showing. The fit of the tail planes to this is just amazing. Remember, this is a resin kit. I've done nothing much to this other than clean them off, take them off the moulding blocks and tidy up only remaining flash. Absolutely stunning. The little fuselage extension where the tail wheel locates is a click fit. It's got a little, if you can see that little shape that fits into that shape. Pop with your auntie. There you go. Ta-da. Now the fin, I've not done a very good job of cleaning up, and I'm still working on it. So once I've got that in place, it should be perfectly good. There's a bit of flash still in there that I'm still working on, but I think that's perfectly fine. So, quite a nicely detailed interior. What I have all cleaned up parts of. There we go. As I said in the intro, typically for me, I managed to break the seats. So rather than being 2 parts, they are now 4. I have a little figure. This is PJ Productions World War I pilot, but the waving figure and the helmet seem to match the pictures I have of the pilot in the aircraft taxiing in at Paris. This is the photo etch set. So we have a rear and a forward instrument panel, some seat belts, which I won't be using obviously, various bits of throttle quadrantage. That's the floor that we talked about, cut off that base block and sanded. Do recommend you sand these things wet. You don't want to be breathing resin dust if you can avoid it. There's a tiny little bit of flash left over in that one there, which just needs to tidy out. So little 15 blade. Give that a tiggy. There we go. So that's broadly ready to paint. There's the film panels. So you've got a rear bulkhead, 2 instrument panels and a front bulkhead. That's the cover for the fuselage. Let me quickly illustrate that. On the top of the fuselage, where the panels, where the instrumentation, where the windscreens go, you have that recess. Now you're going to fill that for the front one. The little triangular recess behind it you don't want to fill. They have actually engineered the cockpit cover to locate into that. That's about as good as it gets, because I haven't cleaned that up. I've literally cut it from the part, and that's a fit. Now, as I was saying, I like my figures in my aircraft. Not going to see a great deal of it. I think that's actually quite decent. I can probably put all that internal detail in there and paint it anyway, as I will. So that's the parts as presented. The rest of the kit is 2 wings, fin and rudder, tail surfaces, beautifully cast engine and propeller, which I'm going to butcher because I have mine looking like they're flying. Tiny aerial, some little bits and pieces. The nice piece is that they've done the wheels, and spats are a pig. If you want the wheel to rotate, like a lot of people tend to, you have to paint the wheel, glue it into the spat, mask the wheel, paint the spat, blah blah blah. They don't give any pretense that you can do that with this. They simply are a push fit. And there you go. The fit of these to the wing section, once again, is sublime. It's got to take you longer to make sure they're vertical than it will to actually do the work. That little headrest piece that we discussed, which is there, look, I cleaned that off the sprue and tidied it up. Again, on the spine of the fuselage, there is a recess molded in just here. You can just see it. This is designed to go in to that recess like so, and it aligns perfectly. Yeah, as I say, sublime. I'm going to go and paint some internals and make up some photo etch parts. I will do an update on that when I can. I suspect the next thing you're going to see is going to be an assembled airframe. I hope that's of interest to people. What I can say categorically is that these SBS kits are amongst the very, very finest of resin kits. The quality of the engineering is second to none. The construction sequences are well thought out, and there's enough detail in there to sort of accommodate the busiest of modeler, but at the same time, people like me who like to build stuff and enjoy a rapid-ish build with a nice result will not be disappointed by this. You can buy them direct. I believe there's a UK stockist, but I can't pin it down. But I buy mine from him direct in Hungary. His mail order service is second to none. Fantastic. I hope that helped. More as I build it. See ya.